Hello, Facebook. Welcome to week 3, Rethinking Self-Care During the Pandemic. Who is needing this today? I know that I certainly am. I'm going to check just a few things here, give people a few minutes to hop on. Let's see. Great. Okay, checking a few things here. Also want to check just to make sure that I am. Got it. Great. Okay. Okay, so let's get started in week 3. So week 1 was all about creating the joy list and really specifically looking at the wheel of life. And then from there, we moved into managing expectations and the fact that, this thing of managing and having expectations of ourselves and other people is something that really can affect our self-care. I'm just realizing that I really wish that I had this one form in front of me and I don't have it. That's okay. Okay. This week is all about, hi Kat, so glad you're joining me. This week, within about 30 minutes, I try to make these small and manageable for all of us. I want to talk about and ask you the question of if you have experienced what you would define as a failure lately, a rejection lately, or something that really is just not going well and you're frustrated with it. It might be something quote unquote small. It all depends what we define as small, but like something breaking down in your house. I've heard this from a lot of people lately that they had things for their businesses or travel planned. They had plans that really they were expecting and excited opportunities that were there for them, and they're not there right now. And so that can be an example of something not going well. In the business world, myself included, have had rejections, very lovingly so, where there were things on the docket that were planned that now are no longer happening because of what's going on during the pandemic. And this is really not unique to the pandemic, and I want to kind of weave that in, we all experience failures. What we perceive as failures. We all experience what we perceive as rejections, or that something big is just suddenly kind of crash and burn in our life. And with that usually comes the ripple effect of our self-care doesn't really go very well. And by self-care, this is why I wish I had this thing in front of me right now. I was reading this really interesting article last night, and it broke self-care up into many different categories. Categories such as mental self-care, spiritual self-care, physical self-care, emotional self-care. And so there's lots of different ways to go about this concept of self-care. But with this whole series, I wanted to bring us all back into the reminder of there's things that are happening before we ever get to the self-care piece that usually are sabotaging us. One, like I said last week, was that expectations that we have of ourselves, that we allow other people to have of us, and that we have of other people. This is another example of this. If you have experienced a kind of what we define as a crash and burn, or what is a perceived failure or rejection, suddenly it will take you kind of into this slump, this emotional slump, to where might not want to do self-care. It might not feel very good, and instead we kind of go down the other path, right? When we are under stress, we tend to revert back to the most soothing, calming habits that we had previous to our very great habits, okay, our healthier habits. So if this is resonating with you, please post it in the comments. Say yes, it is, or no, or if you have a question about it, post that too. Now, from here, usually after, for those women who are high achievers, type A, helpers, healers, interested in bettering themselves, and are really, really great at fixing things that are going wrong, when we have this backslide, or what is perceived as a backslide, The high achieving type A woman inside is going to start wanting to push. She's going to want to go into urgency. She's going to step out of the like relaxation play phase, and she's going to get into the urgency like, oh no, what's happening? I've got to fix this right away. Can you relate to this? Most women that I talk to really seem to be able to relate to this, to where the concept comes in and they're like, I have to, this fell off of my schedule. Let's just take it in the form of a business, okay? So like I recently had a speaking engagement that two of them actually, that were completely wiped off the books. And that piece of me that goes, that was within my plan. Hold on, wait a second. What am I going to do with that? Oh gosh, now I've got to hustle. That puts me into urgency. And the thing with urgency is it creates the sensation in our body that gets us into tension. And tension, if you really start tapping into, which I really like to ask you to do, so please keep practicing, getting into your body, you will feel it in very specific parts of your body. And everybody's unique to where they feel it. Some people feel it in their shoulders or their jaw. Other people will clench their hands. Other people feel it in their abdomen. All depends. It's unique to you, but you want to be aware of where you are feeling that tension. It is a real thing that we want to start pushing. If we get nervous or we get stressed out, we're going to want to start pushing. What I really want to invite you to do, though, is to go with me on this journey where we shift some of that, okay? We all want control. I'm so glad you're here, Jenna. Thank you. Yeah, she says, totally go into urgency. Oh my goodness, I feel that today. Yes. We all want senses of control. So what I hope by the end of our time together today is I want to start cultivating a few ways that we can be getting these little bits of control that are going to calm the brain down so that we don't have to constantly feel the need to push, push, push. Instead, we want to be bringing things into us. I call that the pull, okay? And I learned that from my dear, amazing yoga instructor and my own personal coach, Anna Pittman, with a breathing space. We want to pull things into us. We don't want to just be like urgently push, push, push. I've got to achieve this. I've got to do this. We don't want to always have to get into that. It doesn't feel good, and it creates less productivity, less creativity, and less opportunity for improvement within our lives. When we go into urgency, I wrote this down and I just want to make sure that I say the actual quote to you. When we go into urgency and we feel like we've got to achieve because we had this failure and so we're like, I got to climb back up the mountain. When we have that, it is a primordial lack of trust in the process of life. When we go into that urgency, it is a primordial lack of trust in the process of life. So instead, we need as women to really reach down deep into the core and realize that what's happening when there's a failure, when something falls apart, when something doesn't go well, what's really going on is a shifting. It's a shifting of the sands. And if we allow it to happen, we can more quickly go with the flow of life and realize that, maybe it wasn't actually the right time for that opportunity. Maybe that wasn't in my highest purpose or interest, or in the other person's highest purpose or interest in that point in time. We don't know. We just want to let go a little bit. And so one of the things that I was taught that has been so personally reflective in my life, but has also helped so many of my clients, is we want to celebrate rejection. We want to celebrate those failures. And it sounds so funny, but like, I mean, like actually like dancing around, like absolutely, we have a failure here. Woo! Like we want to get into the place where we go, it's okay to fail. It's okay that this is completely blown apart right now. I don't want to stay here. I don't think I love this forever and ever, but okay, I'm embracing it. Make it something that we twist into enjoyment. It recalibrates you all the way down to your cellular level. It shifts you in your core. It creates more grounding, and it will get you out of the slump a lot more quickly. Okay, so we want to celebrate some of those things. When we feel the need to urgently push, I've got to go forward, I got to go forward, we want to celebrate some. So I was supposed to, another one of the things that fell apart for me during the pandemic. I have lots of little examples, and I'm sure you do too. And please leave them in the comments. This is a safe place to share if you feel comfortable sharing, or you can reach out to me privately. One of the things was we were supposed to have the Wild and Bright retreat in April, and it now has been postponed until September. One of the things that I did was I decided to create a gift for the women. And actually, there's 2 more spots left because now that we're doing it in September, actually 2 more spots opened up in addition to the other women that are still going. So what I did was I created this keychain. And it's a beautiful handmade leather keychain in Charlottesville, Virginia, from a wonderful woman named Laurel Denise. She has a great Etsy shop. And I created the keychain, and it said, "Have courage and be still. Live wild and bright." Well, when I really started thinking about that as I was preparing for this week 3, Rethinking Your Self-Care today, I started thinking about the fact that instead, when we have this failure or perceived failure, usually we want to rush forward, but we want to have the courage to stay still. Because what is really about to come to us is about to come to us, and we don't want to be running around like just trying to look everywhere. We want to be ready when it's there. And so this is one of the hardest things that I have to practice, and it's one of the most fruitful things that I practice, is having the courage to be still and notice, have the awareness when we're rushing forward, when we're trying to fix, control. Have the presence of being still and finding new ways for that control. Okay, so like in more healthful ways, finding more ways for self-control. We want to be aware of the tension, and then we want to release the tension. Have courage and be still. So this week is really also about relaxation. I want you to practice relaxation this week. If you feel tension right now, I want you to notice where you feel that in your body, and I want you to see if you can invite some softness and stillness into that area. If you don't feel any tension right now, take your hands and make them into fists or scrunch up your shoulders really tight as you can. We call this contract, relax. Be tight. And then let it go and feel the difference of that so that you are starting to be aware of the difference between when you're relaxed and when you're in this urgent, pushing, I have to achieve, I have to fix, I have to prove state, okay? When we're in the relaxed state, you're going to then be able to access core confidence more easily, which is your inner wisdom of what you need to do for you so much more easily. And that is what we're going to be talking about next week in week 4. But this is the pre-work, okay? This is so much of what we get into in the retreat and what I get into when I'm working with people privately and in workshops. So, practice relaxation this week. Okay. I love that, Jenna. Yes, we want to be ready when it's there because all the good stuff is coming. It really is. It really is. It's all coming. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, I'm just making sure that I'm touching on all the things that I wanted to today. Okay. As I mentioned, when we're inviting in this relaxation, from here, so I want us to just all kind of allow a little bit more relaxation in our bodies in the moment. Let your feet relax. Let your legs get heavy. Let your pelvis get soft and heavy. Feel yourself, wherever you're sitting right now, feel yourself sitting there. Let your abdomen soften. Let your spine and the back muscles go. Let the arms get heavy. Let the hands feel warm. Let the chest gently open so the heart can shine forward. Let your eyes and your face soften. Just feel yourself being right where you are, okay? Now from here, we want to invite in control, right? Because we all need, once we're feeling this fear of failure, we have to attend the brain to something. If we are high achievers and doers and fixers, we need to give the brain something to play with, okay? And so what I would like to make this tangible is I want you to be thinking about, from your relaxed state, I want you to be thinking about your morning and your evening routine. For your morning routine, what is going to help you start your day in a relaxed state? Maybe that's sleeping in. Maybe that is waking up 2 minutes early. Maybe that is the first thing you think about is something positive, something enjoyable, something like, wow, today is going to be a great day, or I wonder what's possible today. Perhaps it's having a cup of tea. Perhaps it's simply looking outside or acknowledging and listening to the birds. Perhaps it is getting up and doing 2 seconds of stretching. Now, if you notice here, I'm inviting you to not have a massive, long, take time practice of your morning routine. That is absolutely wonderful if you have the time to do that. And if you do, by all means, I invite you to. But right now, in the pandemic especially, I really do truly believe that we are being asked to kind of shed this like more is better, more is better. I feel like we're asked to get into a simple, simplistic state. And so how can you simplify your morning routine to where you can still access relaxation? Perhaps it's prayer, perhaps it's reading a spiritual text, perhaps it's getting up and writing a poem, whatever comes to you, or a song. Perhaps it's doing a dance, okay? I really want you to take some time from a relaxed state and jot down, please leave it in the comments too, because this helps gather all of your friends and new to be friends. Like it helps all of us go, oh, that's such a great idea. I might be able to implement that too. Or that wouldn't work for me, but this would. It all gives us an aha. So share if you feel so called on the live and on the replay, okay? Regardless of when you're watching. Think about a morning routine from your relaxed state, but that will help you get in your relaxed state to start your day. That is an example of gaining control. Then if you've been experiencing some failures or some letdowns or some rejections right now, we want to think about gaining control during the day. So for me, it's wearing earrings, it's getting dressed, it's making sure that I look something like I am able to control the way off wear just sweatpants. I love wearing sweatpants, by the way, but I'm very strategic about when I do that, because that to me is a way to feel like I am able to keep semblance of control right now, which is really important to me. Setting my schedule is something that is very important to me. Having our meal for the evening figured out before like 5:30 is really important to me.